Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
So Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
On the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? It's Monday. Yes, we got a brand new week of brand new crap. Yes, I said crap. Already. The news, of course, as always, horrible. But we all know this. All right, so RC Tycoon 13 already in the chat asks, how am I this 7-Eleven Monday? I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. Actually, no, I spent pretty much all weekend redecking, as I did for most of last week. So I'm tired, but at least I won't fall through my deck for my porch. So that's how I am. I am tired and I am sore, and I'm, depressed by the news cycle, as we all should be. So, that's my day. All right, anyway. So I'm going to spread the cheer. That's what we're doing here. We're spreading the cheer. Lots and lots of cheer. Tremendous amounts of cheer, in fact. I know, right? What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Get a free slippery. I don't even have a 7-Eleven near me. That's funny. That's funny. But all right. So now we got some fun stories today, though. We have Elon Musk pulling out for the first time. Fun. We have Donald Trump goes after Musk. Oh, that's interesting. So there's some infighting going on, or is it really considered to be infighting? I don't know what's going on. Well, I do, but whatever. It's a day. We have Bannon getting thrown under the bus. That's also fun. We have, unfortunately, something that's not fun. Biden punching left. Big surprise, but not really. And then we have Fox News triggered by history. Shocker. So we're going to be talking about some fun stuff. As usual, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Of course, it helps it out. All right. So with that said, why don't we dive into this stuff? We'll start with Elon Musk. In news that has undoubtedly made right-wingers as well as weirdo tech bros very sad, it appears that Elon Musk will not be buying Twitter. Well, who could have seen that one coming? Except for, pretty much everyone. Now, on Friday, of course, Musk announced that he was terminating his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter because he claims the social media company had breached multiple provisions of the merger agreement. Oh, so sorry, it's post-Roe, so you're going to have to carry that deal to term. I'm not kidding. That's actually, well, Twitter's not saying that verbatim, but Twitter is saying, sorry, you can't get out of this one. But we'll dive into that. In a filing, Musk's lawyer said that Twitter had failed or refused to respond to multiple requests for information on fake or spam accounts on the platform. He said Twitter is in material breach of multiple provisions of that agreement, appears to have made false and misleading representation about which Mr. Musk relied when entering into the merger agreement, the filing said. So now, here's the thing. I guess it's the thing that I don't quite understand about this. Did you not know that there were bots on Twitter? You would think that's like the number one thing that everybody knows. Are you saying there are bots on Twitter? That a large percentage of people are bots? Really? That's like going into a casino and saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe these games are rigged so that the house wins." No! Oh my God! You're kidding me. Well, obviously, the casino needs to refund me all the money that I spent because I didn't know that it was rigged against me. No, everybody knows. Everybody knows. But look, when it came to bots, right, on social media, specifically Twitter, but I think everywhere, remember we did have the entire thing that was the Mueller report where it showed that you had a massive amount of bots and troll farms. Now, in that case, of course, these were Russian bot and troll farms, but of course, anyone, anywhere can set up a bot and troll farm. In fact, that's not a uniquely Russian thing. That's just one of the more recent examples. And even if you knew that, but didn't believe it because LOL, fake news, Russiagate. Well, surely you had to have noticed bots and troll accounts. And let me give you another example of them that isn't involved with Russia. You remember Sally Albright? I think she was like a Democratic consultant or something like that. Very big establishment voice. Huge Clinton supporter back in 2016. Guess what she did? She was busted running a bot network in which she would retweet and like establishment voices, politicians, and she had this huge account that huge bot network that she controlled, having, fake accounts with fake photos and fake names, even impersonating black people. And so that's another great example of people using specifically Twitter as a bot network. So yes, it's very, very clear that there are bots and trolls on Twitter. Now, again, I would understand it if normies, regular, average people, don't understand any of this. They had no idea. They didn't pay attention. They actually go and touch grass. They're not terminally online like most of us, unfortunately, for us. Fortunately for them, since they don't have to deal with this. But anyway, people like Elon Musk, they're not normal people. He's not a normie. He spends an inordinate amount of time on Twitter. Again, unfortunately, like a lot of us. So, What I don't get, though, is launching a bid to buy Twitter for a stupidly large amount of money, more than I think it's worth, without doing any sort of research on it beforehand. Again, the only time that he started doing research is after he put in the bid. That's dumb. Is that what a smart person does? I thought Elon Musk was supposed to be some sort of genius. He's not. Doesn't seem very genius. And by the way, you don't understand, Jeff. He's playing three-dimensional chess. That's what it is. Because Elon Musk, super genius. See, what he tried to do is he actually Was this there to try to embarrass Twitter into what exactly? Because the only person that should be embarrassed is Elon Musk. Oh, but no, he also wanted to drive Twitter's stock prices down. Okay, Twitter stock prices are down, what, 5%? And that was after Friday. You know how much Tesla stock had dived? About 31%. So again, who should be more embarrassed here? Who lost more stock value? Right. So if you're thinking that, oh no, it's a play, he's a super genius, touch grass. Go touch grass. For the love of God, go outside and talk to another human being. Please. For the love of God. Again, Musk isn't a genius. He's basically another part of the investor class. He didn't create Tesla. He didn't create the technology for SpaceX, which is literally rockets. Okay. He came in like every other, investor and bought the company and took the credit. That's it. That's it. Oh, but he has a vision. Yeah, you know what that vision is? Dollar signs. That said, hey, you know who else has the same vision? Every single corporation, including Twitter. and so look, Twitter, apparently they ended up wanting that $44 billion. And that's after many different mixed messages from Twitter, which again, that company is a mess. I'm going to be honest. That is an absolute mess. They have no idea what they're doing. They've never had any idea what they're doing. And now I guess they're planning on, I don't know, pursuing legal action, spending time and money to go after Elon Musk for trying to pull out of the deal. It's let me give you a statement here. This is Twitter's chairman, Brett Taylor. He said their board plans to pursue legal action to enforce the $1 billion merger agreement. The Twitter board is committed to closing the transaction on the price and terms agreed upon by Mr. Musk. Now, Musk then responded on this by posting 4 images of him laughing next to captions that read, "They said I couldn't buy Twitter. They said they wouldn't disclose bot information. Now they want to force me to buy Twitter in court." The Twitter that you wanted to buy in the first place. Now they have to disclose bot information in court. But everybody already knows Twitter's full of bots. It's not like you found anything groundbreaking or interesting. I don't understand how this is an own. I don't understand how you can twist this into a positive when the whole thing is stupid. It's just really dumb. No one's a winner here. Everyone's a loser. Everyone is a loser. And again, Musk looks like an idiot because he refused to do his due diligence before making this stupid offer. Twitter was never worth $44 billion. Stupid. Stupid. Just the whole thing. Everyone's a loser. Now, speaking of losers, I think the funniest thing about this is all the hangers-on. All the coattail riders, the clout chasers. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mike Pillow, who tried to get back on Twitter, thinking that Daddy Musk was going to let him have his account so he could spread his nonsense. Dave Rubin, who I showed you recent tweets on some of last week's shows, where Dave Rubin's like, paging Elon Musk. Please come save us. Please save Jordan Peterson from having to delete a tweet. Where and it's a deeply transphobic tweet, by the way. Those are the saddest people. Worse than Elon Musk are the people that gravitate and hang on to him like that. That is just the saddest thing I have ever seen. It is sad and pathetic. Also hilarious, because it shows you exactly who these people are. Just sad, pathetic little clout chasers. Peterson has lost his mind. Wrong! You had to have had a mind to lose. Friend. You needed to have had something to lose. Which, yeah. Sad Kermit noises. Moving on. Talking about loser fights. Let's have another one. And what is an example of one of the greater ironies? Former President Donald Trump went after Elon Musk and called him a BS artist. Take a look.
Leon, I tell you what, Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Where did you hear that before? From me. From a fake account. She says fake. A lot of them. Nah, he's got himself a mess. You know, he said the other day, oh, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another bullshit artist, but he's not going to be buying it. He's not going to be buying it. Although he might later. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? He's got a pretty rotten contract. I looked at his contract. Not a good contract. But he's not. Sign up for truth. We love the truth. And it's doing good.
Leon's. Yes. Leon's. He says the best words, the greatest words.
I'm cognitively there.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. All right. So, look, this is the pot calling the kettle. All right. You want to talk about a bullshit artist? Donald Trump is sitting on a mountain of bullshit. Over 30,000 false or misleading statements in 4 years. No, we love the truth. We love the truth. No, you don't. No, you're a pathological liar. Pathological liar. But you know what's funny about this? This is actually fantastic news for Donald Trump. Believe it or not. And this is what's weird, okay? So, you know his pump and dump scheme, Truth Social, right? They're benefiting greatly from this debacle. On Monday, CNN Business reported that shares of former President Trump's blank check company have surged. Here's part of the article in question, quote, shares of Digital World Acquisition Corp., the special purpose acquisition company that has agreed to merge with Trump Media and Technology Group, surged 15% in pre-market trading Monday morning after Elon Musk said he would back out of this deal to buy Twitter. So Twitter shares went down about 5%. Shares of the Digital World Acquisition Corp. went up. What is going on here? That is money that is going into Donald Trump's pocket. That's amazing. Wow. Now look, Truth Social, we know it's a disaster. Truth Central, right? Look, that website itself has been plagued with technical problems, leadership problems. I mean, the guy, look, Devin Nunes is running it. Devin Nunes tried to sue a cow and lost. Yes, a cow. Investors have also said that they were unaware that Trump was even involved in the deal when they had signed on. And the CEO of Digital World Acquisition Corp. has been hit with a lawsuit alleging that the entire deal was nothing more than a fraud scheme. Again, a pump and dump. So now what's interesting is you could point to the fact that Trump is actually using it. But I'm going to argue that Trump using it because, oh, look, well, we've all noticed, we're like, oh, wow, Donald Trump's actually been using Truth Social. Weird. Oh, I didn't think that he was interested in using it. But then you think about it, and you think about all the legal troubles this is going through and how it's been alleged to have been a fraud scheme. Wouldn't it make sense then to try to have the appearance that you actually care about the company and not just care about extracting millions or billions of dollars in investment money from it and letting it fail? I mean, again, using it, it takes like 5 minutes. Log on. Well, if you can log on, post a truth. And then that's it. What are you talking about? It's not a pump and up scheme. I'm using it. No, I log on. I use it. I love it. The best dumps, the biggest dumps. It's not a pump and dump at all. No. Yes, maybe I'll dump it because I like dumps.
Dumps.
Big, massive dumps. But you know what? I'm using the True Essential. Okay? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, him using it doesn't necessarily disprove, that it's, that, oh, no, it's a real operation. It's a real operation. It's not a pump and up scheme at all. No. Again, it took him months to start using it, and likely because, and the timing here is really suspicious, it was after these investigations started that he started using his own platform and truthing. I think that's really interesting. He probably got told by his lawyers that he's got to use it in order to keep up the scam. And so either way, both people, Musk and Trump, are terrible. Both are looking to make money, and neither of them give a damn about truth or free speech, honestly. In many ways, you have Trump and Musk being a lot alike in the fact that they're both narcissistic a-holes whose daddies gave them a start in life. A real big head start. Is it any surprise that they're both are a lot alike? All right. Moving on. Let's go to Bannon. All right. Former Trump official and Capitol riot insider Steve Bannon is now changing his tune, interestingly, saying that he would be more than happy to testify to the January 6th committee. But wait, hold on. This is as Bannon faces 2 charges of criminal, not civil contempt, in refusing to supply documents and testimony that have been requested by the committee in relation to the January 6th riot. So now he was subpoenaed by the committee, I believe it was back in October of last year, because of, well, his relation to the January 6th riots, of course. On the night prior to January 6th, January 5th, he seemed to have known that there was going to be some sort of riot or something going on at the Capitol. He did say, what was it, that hell would be coming. And so, that didn't look good. That didn't look good. So now, here's the thing. He refused to answer that subpoena and then filed a claim last week saying that, well, look, here's the thing. I can't get a fair trial for that, criminal contempt charge because, the House Select Committee, they've been talking a lot about January 6th, and that's on the forefront of people's minds. So, it's going to be tainting the possible jury. Yes, that's what it is. Now, he put that out and then said, well, yeah, I'm happy to talk to him, though. Very, very happy to talk to him. Why the sudden change? Well, I'm pretty sure I know. Steve Bannon's in a lot of trouble. I mean, look, Politico revealed that Donald Trump's lawyer, Justin Clark, recently spoke to the FBI. What he said to the FBI is basically, oh, that entire defense of having executive privilege? Yeah, it turns out we never gave him executive privilege. He didn't have executive privilege. Bannon had lied about this to Congress, to everyone. And so, sorry. Now, Bannon found out about this, learned about this, and said, oh, crap. My entire defense saying that I have executive privilege when I actually didn't really have executive privilege to begin with, but me claiming to have executive privilege and Donald Trump backing me up and saying that, oh, yeah, he's got executive privilege, so that he doesn't have to talk to the committee as part of his defense, him not having that anymore, that means he's in big, big trouble. On Saturday, Bannon suggested that Trump had waived those claims of executive privilege and permitted him to testify. Trump then signed a letter supporting Bannon's reversal and claimed to have waived executive privilege. Again, nothing to waive. Never had it. Again, never had that executive privilege. There's just no argument that he can make. He has no argument. So now, again, what does this mean? So, of course, Bannon will be testifying. That doesn't mean he'll say anything worthwhile. Okay? He's not going to add anything to value to the January 6th committee. He's certainly not going to flip on Donald Trump. But, you know, he might likely plead the fifth the whole time. Again, like Michael Flynn, waste everybody's time. But it also means that he's trying to get out of the contempt charges. And that's the thing, of course, that could really sink him. Now, remember, this is not civil contempt. This is criminal contempt. So even though he'll testify and provide the documentation now, or claims that he will, that doesn't mean the charges are going to go away. It will still apply. In fact, here's Assistant U.S. Attorney Amanda Vaughn writing this in Politico. The defendant's timing suggests that the only thing that has really changed since he refused to comply to with the subpoena in October of 2021 is that he is finally about to face consequences of his decision to default. All of the above described circumstances suggest the defendant's sudden wish to testify is not a genuine effort to meet his obligations, but a last-ditch attempt to avoid accountability. Now, one of you in the chat here says, well, he wants to get a deal. Well, here's the thing. He would get a deal if he actually showed a good faith effort to provide information that was necessary. And by the way, generally, if that's the case, if it's believed that you have information that is helpful and that you would be a trustworthy source to provide such information, then usually it'd be the Justice Department or someone trying to broker a deal with you, trying to offer you a deal. It doesn't really necessarily work the other way around. At least I wouldn't think so, because Bannon has not proven himself to be a trustworthy source. If anything, his motives are very, very shady. I wouldn't trust Bannon as far as I could throw him. And look, he's kind of a big guy, so, you know. And I'm saying that as also kind of a big guy. It'd be very difficult for me to throw him. And so I don't trust him at all, and neither should the DOJ, neither should anyone. This guy's a serial liar. He's a criminal. He's somebody who lied about donations. Remember when he got a bunch of donations from Trump supporters to build a wall? And then he just took that money and he put it in his pocket. That's who Steve Bannon is. He's a criminal. Absolute criminal. So now, Vaughn, getting back to her, she also said that Clark also told DOJ that the former president's counsel never asked or was asked to attend the defendant's deposition before the select committee, that the defendant's attorney misrepresented to the committee what the former president's counsel had told the defendant's attorney, and that the former president's counsel made clear to the defendant's attorney that the letter provided no basis for total noncompliance. So basically, he lied a bunch of times about multiple things. If that isn't throwing Bannon under the bus, I don't know what is. And now, as a result of that, he's in a panic. Vaughn noted that the DOJ provided Bannon's team with an FBI report of Clark's interview on June 30th, the day it was conducted. Two sources familiar with Clark's FBI interview said the session lasted 45 minutes and was limited to a discussion of Bannon's case. In addition, the sources said Clark did not discuss any of his conversations with Trump, which were treated as attorney-client privilege. Bannon's attorney indicated they were aware of Clark's interview last week, citing it without identifying Clark as a reason to delay Bannon's trial until October. And in a separate filing, the DOJ rejected additional arguments by Bannon to delay that trial, including a newly lodged argument that one of the prosecutors in the case, Molly Gaston, once worked with the top select committee staffer, Kristen Ammerling, on Capitol Hill, and were in a book club together. Oh, you had collusion, of course, because they were in a book club. Right. Okay, then. In its effort to create panic, the defendant also mischaracterizes the information the government provided in relating to Kristen Ammerling. Vaughn wrote, as the government informed the defendant on July 8th, she and Ms. Gaston worked together for over a decade ago, and were in a book club that Ms. Gaston has not attended in almost 2 years. At no point did the government represent that Ms. Ammerling and Ms. Gaston have a close personal relationship, because they do not. But even then, they're like, but you don't understand. They had once known each other, and therefore they're somehow working together as a conspiracy to take down Steve Bannon. To make it very, very unfair. And in fact, you know what? We had these two, the prosecutor was next to somebody else, lived next to somebody else. He once passed them on the street. That's enough. That's an obviously super unfair trial. You need to delay. What kind of excuses, other excuses are they going to come up with? No, this is Steve Bannon trying to save his ass. And of course, Donald Trump also tried to save his ass, saying he waived the privilege. Oh no, I'm waiving the privilege that I never had at all. No, this is ridiculous. Bannon's lawyers also argued the news coverage of the committee's hearings could taint the jury pool and deprive him of a fair trial. Gee, I wonder why that is. Could it be that, the fact that January 6th was pretty bad? Select committee members have made inflammatory remarks about the culpability of President Trump and his closest advisors, including Mr. Bannon, and have broadcast to millions of people their purported findings on issues that may prejudice the minds of jurors on this case. Mr. Bannon's lawyers wrote in a June 29th court filing. Considering how this is all related, I don't see why it should be delayed at all. Again, Steve Bannon is a criminal. We know because he was already convicted, found guilty of stealing from Trump supporters, and then was pardoned by Trump. He laughed about it on a yacht. But not only that, of course, we know that he's spread the big lie. He's said all sorts of inflammatory things, and admitted to, by the way, this is according to Peter Navarro's own book, of supporting fake electors as part of the Green Bay sweep in order to try to steal an election for Donald Trump. That's it. And now he's hoping, apparently, that people will have a, short enough attention span to forget about the damning testimony to the January 6th committee and allow him to try to escape with minimal repercussions. Not only that, but think about it this way. Wanting a delay, again, you could say that it's maybe getting ready for the midterms, right? So if you start that trial in October, and if he manages to stretch it out, could he theoretically stretch it out past the midterms? Which the midterms were not looking good for Democrats, meaning that Democrats would no longer possibly have a majority in the House and the Senate. And therefore, a lot of the committees, the committee assignments would end up being changed. And then, of course, combine that with the fact that you have right-wingers that are saying, oh, here's what we're going to do when we retake the House and the Senate. We're going to launch a bunch of phony investigations at Joe Biden. So that everybody forgets about January 6th, and that, of course, my trial gets buried in the news cycle under a bunch of bullshit. And so, maybe I'll find a way to get away scot-free. that's what I see could happen. Now, the interesting news here, and maybe the good news, is that he got himself into this mess. And it doesn't look like right now anybody's going to be able to get him out of that. And I think if anything, if they do this right, if anything good can come from the January 6th committee, these hearings, it would be justice served on Steve Bannon. Because remember, out of all of the dangerous people that served in the Trump administration, he was one of the worst. One of the worst, most dangerous kinds of human beings. And so I hope that they are able to nail him. Send him to prison where he belongs. All right. Democrats really screwed the pooch on this one. This committee should have started working a lot sooner, a lot faster. I mean, again, the evidence that they've provided so far was really excellent. But I am, of course, concerned that the Department of Justice is not going to act on this. And that, again, I think that's like the biggest problem here. Is Merrick Garland going to actually do his job or not? That's what I'm really afraid of. All right. Let's move on. The Biden administration has decided to punch left after Biden's tepid response to the reversal of Roe v. Wade. In fact, the White House has called pro-choice activists that were pushing Biden to do something substantial to protect reproductive rights. Well, they referred to them as out of step with the Democratic Party. Now, that jab was apparently made in a statement to the Washington Post, responding to the criticism of what Democrats have seen as a response that has been too little too late. The White House Communications Director, Kate Bedingfield, had said this to the Post, quote, "The president has been showing his deep outrage as an American and executing his bold plan, which is the product of months of hard work ever since this decision was handed down." Now, before I get into more, let's just go over the details of his bold plan, right? Again, not my words. That's the White House's words. Let's see how bold it is. Now, in the recent executive order he signed, what he basically listed was a series of directives aimed at HHS and the Justice Department to kind of look into maybe doing something at a later date, or like doing a study or commission, or delegating it, basically. The executive order calls for expanded access to abortion medication in states where abortion has not been outlawed. Okay. So that does nothing to protect people in states where abortion has been banned. Okay. And now, again, it also doesn't say whether this expansion will include eliminating the current medically unnecessary restrictions on the drugs or making them available over the counter. So we don't know that. Very vague. It also asked HHS, Xavier Becerra, to call for expanded access, to make updates to current guidelines. Current guidelines for emergency medical care in an effort to reduce deaths in pregnant women whose doctors refuse to intervene in medical crisis for fear of harming a fetus and incurring liability. However, it does not call for HHS to solidify these guidelines into a rule that would more forcefully protect women's lives. So again, guidelines, not rules. So basically, the end result is, you can but you don't have to, and not really a rule. Great. Now, it also asked the Department of Justice to get volunteer lawyers to work pro bono to represent people trying to get or provide legal abortions, and also make some vague gestures at providing women defenses for things like crossing state lines or obtaining care in one state that is illegal in the one where they live. So that's, I mean, not great so far, but there's more. It also doesn't say whether the administration will work to support the attorneys already doing this work, which there are wonderful groups out there. For example, Texas-based James Due Process, or the legal nonprofit If, When, How, that are actually doing the work. And it does not say how long it will make sure that the supply of volunteer, again, they can't do funding, right? Volunteer pro bono legal assistance, how they're able to make sure that women have access to this, are able to get this. So, okay, wow. Now, the order also talks about protecting privacy and combating disinformation. However, there is no mention of crisis pregnancy centers who, look, as we've reported before, their entire purpose is to lie and mislead people by presenting fake information to prevent women from getting the correct knowledge about what an abortion entails, how it affects the person. They spread lies like, oh, it causes infertility. It does all of this thing. It gives you cancer. And just all of this ridiculous disinformation about it. Okay, if you're going to fight disinformation, then why not take on these crisis pregnancy centers, which, by the way, it's also been reported that people will literally dress up as doctors, fake doctors, present themselves as doctors, and try to trick women into not getting abortions who come there for abortion. And by the way, in a lot of states where there are limits on when you can get an abortion, and all of these onerous regulations that are put on women, and by the way, it's not just women, it's also non-binary, trans men, anyone that has a uterus that are affected by this. If you have this waiting period and you get tricked into going to crisis pregnancy center, and then to be told we don't actually do abortions here, well, then you might have just wasted enough time to where you can no longer legally get an abortion. And so that's the worst kind of trickery. Now, the Biden administration doesn't go after those groups as well that are lying. Now, the order also does call for HHS to expand access to contraception, but again, doesn't say how. They're incredibly vague. It also doesn't say the administration will make federal lands in red states available for abortions. In fact, they said absolutely not. It also doesn't say that the DOJ will bring lawsuits against states that ban abortion medication on the theory that such bans violate the FDA's supremacy. And it does not pledge a repeal of the Hyde Amendment, because of course not. So it doesn't really do anything. It's just very, very vague. I don't know. I guess we'll look into it, maybe, kind of. We'll do some studies and commissions, and we'll do something maybe later, possibly. Oh, but by the way, remember to go vote. Roe's on the ballot in November. Better remember to vote. Now, again, okay, what is that actually going to do? Now, the only thing that I can see that is tactical voting. And of course, I've always been a proponent of that, and still am. So if you want to vote to keep Republicans out of office, great. That's pretty much the only reason to do so. Because you can't count on the Democrats to actually do anything when they're in office. And by the way, even when Democrats have a majority, it seems like Republicans still win. All it does is slow the bleeding. It doesn't stop the bleeding. It certainly doesn't reverse the bleeding. It just, kind of throws a tiny little Band-Aid on a gushing wound. Whereas instead, of course, if Republicans win, they take the knife to it. I saw this incredibly correct, meme comparison, whatever. where basically, and this goes back to Uvalde, where the Democrats are the police outside the door in Uvalde, and Republicans are the shooter inside. That's what it is. And I can't think of a more apt comparison of what's going on. Democrats are just going to wait outside the door and not do anything to stop Republicans from, killing people, essentially. And before you say that this is hyperbolic, what do you think these laws are doing? Ending legal abortion doesn't end abortion. It ends safe abortion. And it gets people killed, people who do not have means. And so that is an incredibly apt comparison. But that's what we have. So telling people to vote harder while not actually doing anything, I mean, that's not really doing a whole lot of confidence. And I'll get to that as well. Okay? So now, things that they could have done, again, the Biden administration could have declared a national health emergency in response to the end of Roe to guarantee the right to abortion. They immediately dismissed that. Ooh, out. Sorry. We're afraid of being sued. We're afraid of actually being able to fight, of having to fight. Hey, even if we lose, and by the way, if the Democrats do all of these things and they still lose, you know what? That's still better because you fought for it. You actually fought for it. You stood up. I'd rather have that than what we have now, which is just an immediate rollover. Oh, nothing we can do. Sorry. And they keep asking me, what do you expect Republicans to do, or Democrats to do against the Republicans? What do you expect them to do? I expect them to fight, goddammit. That's what I expect. I expect them to fight, even if they lose every single challenge. At least you fought for it. And at least that's going to bring out people to the polls. Show me you're going to fight for me, and I will come out and support you. I'll give you more Democrats, but right now, you're showing me that even if we give you 2 more Democrats or 12 more Democrats in the Senate, that you're still going to do nothing. You're still going to come up with bullshit, nonsense excuses of why I can't do anything. Oh, we might have a supermajority, but these 4 Democrats or 5 Democrats, whatever, in these states, these 10, 11 Democrats, well, they're not pro-choice and they'll vote against us. So there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do because Biden has absolutely no control over his own caucus. It's infuriating. And on top of that, the White House is saying, guys, we did nothing and you're still complaining? Why are you still complaining? In fact, Bedingfield went on to say that Joe Biden's goal in responding to Dobbs is not to satisfy some activists who have been consistently out of step with the mainstream of the Democratic Party, but to deliver help to women who are in danger and assemble a broad-based coalition to defend a woman's right to choose now, just as he assembled a coalition to win during the 2020 election or campaign. He's out of step. Oh, the pro-choice activists, you're out of step. You're out of step. Really? I can't. Again, here we have a situation where you put pressure on the Biden administration and they go, I can't believe, why would you do that? Why would you do? You're out of step. No, the administration is out of step. Sleepy Joe's taking a nap. Well, reproductive rights are being stripped away. And he said he's going to fight for it. Not even going to fight for it. I mean, come on. Look, I've got all sorts of polling numbers, but I think one of the most telling poll numbers is how many people actually don't want Joe Biden to run in the election in 2024. So now look, 64% of Democrats in a New York Times Siena College poll are saying they would prefer a different person for the 2024 campaign. That's 60%, 64% of Democratic voters. Among younger voters, 94% of Democrats that's under the age of 30 say that they prefer a different presidential nominee. Get this guy out of here. I mean, come on. Look, the only reason we have Joe Biden, and I think a lot of you can attest to this, that Joe Biden was not our first choice. The reason that people voted for Joe Biden was not to vote for Joe Biden, it was to vote against Donald Trump. It was to vote against Republicans. And again, Donald Trump was a disaster. Look how he bungled COVID. But then you go to the Biden administration and how he's bungled everything else. No wonder he's incredibly unpopular. And you know what? The only thing he's got going for him is that he, in a rematch, he would barely, hypothetical rematch, would barely win against Donald Trump. Barely. Understand that's why people voted for him. And by the way, the only reason that he was a nominee is because Obama made a call and cleared the field for him. All to prevent Bernie Sanders from becoming the nominee. Bernie Sanders, who would have beaten Donald Trump, both in 2016 and in 2020. And guess what? If Bernie Sanders were president right now, you know who would actually be fighting? Bernie Sanders. Instead, what we have is Joe Biden, who continues to punch left for people that are pushing him to fight. I don't care if you lose. And by the way, this is what Republicans do. They put up a lot of challenges that lose, but they keep fighting, and it actually energizes and excites their base, who then turn out to put them in power. How many times did they try to repeal Obamacare? Like 40-something times. And yet, that gets people to turn out. Well, how about instead of, like just sitting there and browbeating people into voting for Democrats, how would Democrats actually fight and try to inspire their base? Actually put up some challenges, actually do something. Again, he could lose every single one of these challenges. Every single one of these challenges. But I would support him because he actually fought. He actually tried. Maybe you should try something, and who knows, you might actually win. But if not, you can say, look, I did everything I could. I can guarantee you that if you give me 2 or 4 more Democrats, we will get this done. 100%. And you can see it because I've already been fighting for you. We don't see that. And that's why I'm very, very concerned. Kevin F7 in the chat says that Biden was my choice. He was the only one who would have beaten Trump. Just how much CNN have you been watching, or how much MSNBC do you watch every day? Honestly, you're living in a completely different world. You haven't paid attention to any of the polling. You haven't paid attention to basically any sort of reality. This is blue MAGA shit, is what it is. Like, yeah, like I talk all the time about right-wingers being in their own reality. But there is a group of people who are absolutely convinced in everything that mainstream corporate media says, without looking at any of the actual facts. Again, Bernie Sanders would have destroyed Donald Trump. And people are out here saying, oh, no. Bernie would have lost to Trump. Okay, with what sort of evidence do you have of that? At all? None. Okay. Anyway. Let's move on. One more. Let's go to woke history.
A great architect, scholar, Thomas Jefferson, and instead I got, exactly the opposite. It just, debunking his history, his reputation, putting him down, demoralizing everybody on my tour. It was just sadly predictable too. These days, I just thought that maybe Monticello would be protected from this disease of wokeism, but.
That was Fox News guest Jeffrey Tucker crying about woke history. Ah, great. So now he was talking with Brian Kilmeade about his 4th of July tour of Monticello. And apparently the tour guys were they were dampening his fun time. They're getting in the way of fun time with history. I know, facts, right? He said the tour was depressing and demoralizing and truly upsetting. I'm very, very upset. And not about the actual, slavery stuff. I don't really care about that, right? No, I just don't like being reminded of it. I don't like being told about it. That's the depressing part. How dare you tell me about these terrible things that were done to people, black people in this country, by this man. I just came here to posthumously fillet him. That's all I did. That's all I wanted to do, is to hear all the positive stuff. Really? Okay. So now Kilmeade then adds that on the main tour that all you hear about is slavery, and you don't even hear about Jefferson at all. The guides do not talk about this incredible man. What? Now, I'm pretty sure that is absolutely not the case. And so here's the thing. The historical facts about Jefferson are very important. Okay, his presidency, his contributions to the historical record. And yes, slavery is a part of that. It's a big part of that. Again, he owned a plantation. He kept 600 slaves. And yes, he raped them. One of them when she was 14 years old. She was a child. A child. And I say, again, rape, because guess what? Slaves couldn't refuse sexual advances. He then took her to France, repeatedly raped her. She ended up having the first of their 6 children at 16. She then managed to negotiate an emancipation to those children in return for her returning to Monticello as a slave. Now, at that point, she was in France. And under their laws, they didn't have slavery. So she was considered a free woman. She could have left immediately. She could have left at any time. No one would have been able to stop her. However, she made that deal. She negotiated, for her to stay and return to be a slave if her children were emancipated. Now, again, she went back to Monticello, ended up being allowed to leave with her one surviving daughter after Jefferson died. And again, her Jefferson's wife, Abigail, or I'm sorry, what was it, Martha, didn't even allow her, didn't even technically free her, just said, you can go. You can go. Now, that's the history. Okay, that's history. I think that history is fascinating. I think it's really interesting. I think it's, especially interesting to hear about these strong African women, African American women, and what they endured to actually try to create a better future, a life for their children. I think that's really interesting. But these chuds, they'll look at this and they say, I don't want to hear about that. You know why? Because that sounds woke. Talking about the slaves. I don't care about the slaves. And by the way, this is not because they feel guilty about slaves. Okay? No, it's, and by the way, they always assume That's what liberals feel when we try to teach people about history. Oh, you're only teaching that because you feel guilty about it. No, I didn't have anything to do with that. In fact, I actively try to dismantle, the history of slavery, right? Or the effects of slavery, and white nationalism, white supremacy, etc. Not because I feel guilty about it, but because it's actually the right thing to do. Yeah, I know it's so weird when you think about their worldview, that they believe that progressives and that liberals, the left, it only does these things out of some sort of weird self-interest, like, oh, it's because you feel guilty. No, bitch, it's the right thing to do. Hey, I actually believe in America. I actually believe in freedom. Don't you? No, they only actually believe in doing something because it affects them. And that's it. Oh, well, but obviously you're only going to do something if you have your own self-interest. And so if you feel guilty about slavery, then that means you're actually going to do something like support reparations. No, we support things like that because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. God damn. But in reality, again, these right-wingers, these chuds, all they want to do is celebrate this one person without actually having to think. And it's amazing. And also, they want to not have to acknowledge that slavery is bad. Because again, they hate having to think about it. Why do you keep reminding me about slavery? Why do you keep reminding me that it's bad? I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about facts. And by the way, I don't even want to admit that slavery is bad. I go back to that CNN interview with W. Kamau Bell, where it's like, oh, we should, of course we should teach history, but, not about the bad parts. Only the good parts. Only the stuff that makes us look good. Oh, well, that's it. Slavery, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk. Wokeism. Woke. Shut up. We all know who you are. We all know you're racist. Just be open about it. Just own it already. All right. People are bizarre, man. All right. Let's go to see if we have any super chats here. We have one. Madi Darno sent you an email. It's funny because I tried to check it and I didn't see anything from you, so I don't know if you sent it to the right place. But Jefferson apparently had a baby with a slave. 6 babies. 6 babies that we know of. That we know of. Likely more. So I see there's an argument in the Facebook community about what Biden can do. So I've triggered a conversation. Well, I guess if I can trigger a conversation, then that's something, right? Shows like this make people stay home on voting day. Telling people the truth about what's going on, if that's the case, I mean, again, that's Republican shit. All right, that's right-winger framing. Oh, you can't tell people the truth because then they'll be angry and won't turn out. So you want me to be a cheerleader is what we're doing. You basically what you're telling me is you must only cheerlead for Team Blue, which I don't play on teams, okay? You want me to sit there and cheerlead for people that are not delivering, that are not even attempting to deliver. Again, if you don't got the numbers, you don't got the numbers. That's a fair point. And do Democrats have the numbers? Not necessarily. I can admit that. Yeah, of course. But you have to try. You have to try for it. You actually have to attempt to do something. If you're gonna say that you're going to use every tool in your tool belt to try to protect a woman's right to choose, then do so. Actually do so. The truth is there are 48 Democrats in Congress. Tell people to vote blue or you'll end up with DeSantis or Trump. I never said don't vote. But I am tired. And here's my argument, right? I'm tired of the Democrats ignoring things that they could actually do, executive orders and actions they can take. And yes, some of those might be challenged by the right wing, but you should still do it. Do those things and show people we are fighting for you so that we will turn out. Again, if you want me to sit and cheerlead for a party that's not actually fighting, then I'm not going to sit and do that. But if they are making an effort, if they are like, oh, the Biden administration just opened up abortion centers on federal land, directly challenging, and is being challenged by, these conservative states. Goddamn right I'm going to report that, and goddamn right I'm going to give Biden the credit. And goddamn right I'm going to be like, you know what? He's going to fight for us. That's why you should turn out. Right now, the only reason to turn out is to prevent more Republicans from getting into power and doing a nationwide abortion ban. Because that's exactly what they're going to do. And yes, as Anjikan says, criticizing Democrats... Oh, hold on, come back. Criticizing Democrats for their failures does not automatically equal supporting Republicans. Yes, we really have to, fight back against that ridiculous framing. Criticizing Democrats for what they're not doing doesn't mean, oh, go and vote and support Republicans. It doesn't even say, oh, don't go and stay home. Nobody's saying that. We're saying, Democrats, if you want more people to turn out, then show something. Show something. Do something. Show that you're fighting. I agree Biden hasn't been fighting for Build Back Better, nor most of the things he wanted to accomplish, as they are corporatists too. So again, you want people to turn out, do something. All right. A possibility that we may fail in the struggle ought to not deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. And that's Lincoln paraphrase. Thank you, RB, for posting that. Just show us that we're fighting, that you're ready to fight. Show us that you're actually going to fight. All right. All right. So, look, that's it. That's all I got for the show today. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. List Biden's accomplishments. I would list it if there were a lot. I basically gave him credit on Afghanistan. I've already talked about the bipartisan infrastructure deal, which, again, if it's bipartisan with the Republicans, it's not going to be any good. It's basically a gigantic corporate handout. Talked about how Build Back Better was an absolute failure. He didn't really get anything done on that. Again, if there were major accomplishments, we would talk about those. There doesn't seem to be a lot of them. And that seems to be the biggest problem here, is you can't really point to a lot of real accomplishments. Oh, Ketanji Brown Jackson was pretty good. Oh, yeah, big credit on that. Definitely big credit on that. And by the way, yeah, I again, Afghanistan, I thought that was great. I gave him a lot of credit. And I also gave him credit for not going to war with Russia. That was also a good thing. See, we try to be fair here. But again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of other noteworthy accomplishments here. All right. Let's do a raid here. Really, let's see. Any subs or anything like that? Do a left flank vets raid. Haven't done that in a while on see. Twitch. As far as everybody else, the child tax credits have really helped the single working mom. Child tax credit's great. Guess what didn't get renewed? The child tax credit. Unfortunately, that's something that he didn't fight for enough. And so I'm a supporter of the child tax credit, but again, it no longer exists. Is it better than a Trump presidency? That's a low bar. Very low bar. COVID vaccine distribution, again, bare minimum. During a pandemic, bare minimum. Child tax credit really helped my daughter and granddaughter. That's awesome. But again, it's no longer there because the Biden administration did not fight to keep the child tax credit. It is now gone. All right. Biden doesn't have a magic wand. No, he doesn't. And we know that. We're just, again, asking him to try to put a little bit more effort into fighting for his own agenda. That's it. Fight for your agenda, and we will support you. Even if you lose. Just fight. Just fight. Who should run? I have no idea who should run, honestly. Thank you very, Mr. Shadow. I appreciate that. All right. Again, I'm getting bogged down here. Mansion and cinema sunk him. Okay. Yes. So why isn't he tough on Mansion and cinema? That's my question. So yes, we know Mansion and cinema have crushed his agenda, have stopped his agenda. So then, why is he not out there pointing the finger and criticizing Mansion and cinema to try to get them on board? Because obviously being super nice is not helping him. Because they can walk all over him, and they've shown that they've walked all over him. But anyway, look, again, I'm getting super bogged down with all this, all these questions. He has been, and no, he hasn't. He has not at all been critical of Mansion and cinema. Mansion and cinema are Republicans and Democrats' clothing. They're absolutely corporatists. That's what they are. All right, I've been doing the Michigan goodbye for like 10 minutes, so I really am gonna head out. We'll do more stuff tomorrow. Smart as the devil, that's right. Thank you all. Appreciate the stimulating conversation, the disagreements, all that stuff. At least you're keeping it real. I appreciate that. Even if you're disagreeing, and you know, again, we have a huge difference of opinion. Let's just say that. And I think Democrats need to be a lot stronger and a lot more aggressive and progressive as well. But we'll have that conversation later. All right. Thank you all. Love you. And have a great, great evening. We'll see you all tomorrow. Oh, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation.
Big, massive dumps.
I have not loved this conversation. Tighten up my knee. I like my knee tight. Please clap.
Disappointed!
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.